Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, I wanted to highlight a concept that has come up a fair bit recently, and that's joint last and first to die, or joint cases in life design analysis. Now, we are working very hard at getting the joint rates in the system, and we're working with CompuOffice, who provides our rates to do that. Currently, if you don't have them, there is still a workaround because we don't have them in the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set up a joint case today. So I'm going to say add a new case. And I mean, generally you'll have clients in the system, and you may even have both these clients. For a joint case though, what we want to do is we want to say new client. And we're going to kind of trick the system and say in the first name, we can either put both first names and a common last name, or if they're, say, business partners or something like that, one client can be the first name, one can be the last name. So I'm going to put Bob and Smith here. And so, I mean, this could be Bob Jones and Smith McCoy, or it could be Bob and Mary Smith. And that's what I'm going to do in this example. So I'm going to pretend this is husband and wife here, Bob and Mary Smith. And again, if it was a corporate one, I could give it a company name. In this example, I'm just going to use the older person's age. So I'm going to say Bob here is 50 and male. And again, we're going to override the age for, we can use their joint age if we like. And again, I'll show you that once we get into the case. So I'm going to set up this as a new client here. We've got Bob and Mary Smith and say continue. And again, we just want to choose our insurance benefit. So I'm going to pick 250 here. And instead of using the automatic rates, because of course those are going to search it at our individual age, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a manual term 10 here. And I'm going to say this is a Canada Life term 10. And in the description, I'm going to say this is a joint first to die. And all I want to do is I want to enter in that initial premium schedule here. So what I've done is I've gone over to the Canada Life software here, and I've drawn up a joint first to die case for 250, as you can see here. Again, if you don't have all the different illustration softwares, I encourage you to get LifeGuide. Again, you can still use that to draw rates, and as a result, you'll get a 50% discount on life design analysis. That gives you two services for the same total cost. So really beneficial to have that. Essentially, all I'm doing, once I've got my quote here, I'm just looking for these rates here. So I can see it's $59.75 for the first premium. And again, I can come back and say, okay, my initial premium, $59.75. I want to come back and say my first renewal is $393.50, and I can even copy that out of there. So I just did a copy and paste, and then it goes to $1,050. Again, I'm just doing a copy here. I'm going to paste it in there, and then it goes to $3,000. So again, I'm going to copy that and bring it in as my next renewal. And I just want to say, again, these were the monthly premiums, so I'm just going to click this monthly box. This policy is renewable till 85 and convertible till 75. And it doesn't have an issue date, it's a brand new one, so I'm going to leave the rest of that and click Save. And now I've got it in there. This is my Canada Life Term 10. Again, I might want to edit it and really give it specific and say this is Canada Life Term 10 Joint First. And Save. And so that's how I can get a joint first policy in there. Again, I could compare it to individual term plans for these people. So I could show them and say, look, this is joint first, but if you were to do individual coverage, I can compare that against that as well. So again, if I did just say, let's say for example, a manual term 10 and did individual quotes for these people, I could illustrate that as well. So I can say individual term 10. And again, it's going to have double the insurance benefit here. One of the other things I really like to do to highlight this is sum two different premiums in there. So if I did, let's say, individual quotes, for example, I'll delete this one client and say, okay, here's the one schedule. So it's $43.65, $292.50, $806.40. And finally, 2,000. And then what I want to do is I want to come back here and I want to change this to a 45-year-old female to get the renewal schedule. And so it's 2160. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say this is the premium, but I want to add that to it. And it's going to add both the case. So it'll give me the sum of two premiums. Again, I'm just going to repeat this going through. So I'm just saying, okay, And finally, our last one here. So you can do addition in the box there. Again, I'm going to say that this is a monthly premium. It is renewable till 85, convertible till 75. And I also want to say this is individual term 10 for both clients added, summed together or added together. And I can do part of that in the description if I wanted. Again, the only other thing I want to say is this isn't just one 250, this is two policies, so the total coverage here, it is different from the initial, so that's why I'm using this insurance benefit here. I want to say that it is different. And so I'm going to say this is, a singular term 10, a joint and first to die, or this is if you bought individual coverage for both of you, and it's, you get double the coverage there. You get 500,000 cumulative. So again, any metrics you want to pick or any different age that you want to pick, you might just say 10 years kind of thing before you hit those renewals and just say generate. And again, it's going to do an analysis showing you, look, here's what, joint first cost, 717. But if you were to get individual coverage for both people, it would be marginally more expensive, 783 total. And again, you're getting double the insurance benefit there. So when we look at the sum of premiums, they're really not all that different. However, what is like $660 at the end of 10 years, what is different is that we're getting double the amount of insurance. So if we looked at something like a cost per $1,000 of insurance, since we have double the amount, it is much more affordable per $1,000 of insurance. And that's hugely impactful when showing clients that really you can get double the coverage and there's not really a need for that joint to first. So a great example of how to use it, how to set up, first of all, a joint and last or joint and first case in the system, but also to compare it to maybe some other products in there. So hopefully you found that informative, and if you have any questions, please do get in touch with us. Thanks so much for watching.